That's my wrong script. I'm just not with it today, I think. Next on my agenda, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of grant number EMC 2019 EP 00004, State of Michigan fiscal year 2019 Emergency Management Performance Grant agreement, and authorization for authorize the chair and administrator to sign both copies of the grant agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gibson, second by Smelker. The floor is yours.
Okay, this is the annual grant we get that pays a portion of my salary and fringe benefits. Upon completion of the paperwork and sent back to Lansing, Berry County will receive a check for $37,780. This is due back to them by October 18th. All the requirements for this grant up to date, there's a deadline, some paperwork I'm working on today by the 11th to be in, but once all that paperwork's in and this grant agreement signed and in, we'll get the check from the state.
This is the same as last year.
Money-wise,
Yeah.
I think it's up a little bit.
Okay.
It's been creeping up, so.
Any other questions for Jim?
Off topic, if we get you some information about this EEE outbreak, can you share it on your social media networks? There are a lot of people that,
What I've been doing is from our social media, we've been sending them to the health department.
perfect.
Because then they can deal with all the misinformation in there. Is that fair? Is that a fair
Yes.
statement? Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of grant number EMC 2019 EP 00004, State of Michigan fiscal year 2019 Emergency Management Performance Grant agreement, and authorize the chair and administrator to both sign copies of the grant agreement. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Pam Palmer with Board of Canvasser appointments. The question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners the appointment of members to the Board of Canvassers for a term that starts November 1st, 2019 and ends October 31st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gibson, Geiger, supported by Connor. Sorry. Floor is yours, ma'am.
Good morning. Each of you have a ballot that I have passed out at your seat for consideration for one candidate for the Democratic Party and one candidate for the Republican Party. These names were submitted to me by each party chair, and I'm asking that you vote today for a Republican candidate, which there's only one candidate, and I'm asking to withdraw my request for the Democrats because there's some confusion. I need to touch base with the Democratic chair and straighten that out. I'll bring that back in 2 weeks.
Any questions for Pam? So really, you were just asking us to vote for the Republican candidate
Please.
and disregard the Democrat
For now, for today.
Madam Chair, I
Yes,
would
sir.
move to recommend Bob Price to be the Republican member of the Board of Canvassers.
Support.
Moved by Geiger, support by Gibson to appoint Bob Price to be the Republican member of the
So this needs to
Board of
be voted
Canvassers.
by private ballot and then needs to be counted.
It's actually in the MCL.
Right.
It specifies.
How many years is this for?
Till
It's a
2023.
It's a 4-year term.
Okay.
So it is one of the things that we can actually vote on the ballot. Do we have to put our name on the ballot?
Yes.
Yes.
The chair
On
is
Yes.
okay.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, because it's a public meeting.
It's not going to shock you, but I voted for Bob Price.
They were all that easy. That,
So, we have
think Ben voted
So
for
we
two
have
Democrats.
6 votes for Bob Price, so he's in.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Choice.
Do we need to act on this motion still? Or did we just,
Postpone indefinitely.
okay, thank you. Mr. Welton? The question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of contract with MDOT to leave improvement, the connector to the Paul Henry Thornapple Trail in place in return for county maintenance agreement.
So moved.
Second? No.
Moved by Geiger, second by Smelker. The floor is yours, sir.
The paving of the portion of the Paul Henry Trail as a pedestrian reroute worked out really well. But in addition to paving the trail, MDOT also paved a connector between the trail and M79. And that's what this maintenance agreement is for the connector trail. It's proven so popular and such an enhancement to the trail that we'd like to see it stay in place. And MDOT has agreed to leave it there as long as we signed a maintenance agreement, similar to the maintenance agreement that we've already signed for the Paul Henry Trail that was paved.
I wondered about that, because I remember that we had that come before us
Right.
before, but it was just for the trail
It's just for the
portion.
trail itself. This connector, MDOT's intention was to remove it once the bridge construction was completed, but it's such a nice enhancement to the trail. We would prefer that it be left in place, and MDOT does not have a problem with that as long as we sign the maintenance agreement.
And that goes right up to the Fuller Street School?
It goes right to M79 at Fuller Street.
Right there, yeah.
John?
It does say in the agreement, though, that if MDOT ever wants that, they can tear it out, right?
It's on right-of-way. It's on highway right-of-way, so
They can use it, but.
they're not giving up the rights to their,
So if they make the road wider, they can,
that would be the only conceivable reason that I know of.
so do we have a plan to maintain that in the wintertime so our kids can cross that? They're the ones that walk from town to school?
What do you say, Rick?
I mean, have we communicated with Nashville, DPW or whatever to make sure that that's a way for our kids to get to school in the wintertime?
The Thornapple Trail Association is already plowing the trail from the high school to Vermontville. But
Ron, they're also, volunteer, Blair Miller is also plowing it into Nashville too. Where it crosses the VFW parking lot, it becomes a gray area there because it's along the MDOT just reseeded it because they parked all their equipment on the county leased property. So
Hey.
yes, it's being maintained. I've been working with the Village of Nashville to work with them to maintain this section of the trail and to put in a regular crosswalk across 66 and Reed Street at the other end of the trail between the houses.
Okay.
We're all in this together.
the downside of plowing it would be that it's additional wear and tear on the trail.
Yeah, but if our kids are dependent on it as a way to get to school, I think we need to make sure that we're taking care of it. I mean, yeah, there's sidewalks, but there's not a lot of sidewalks along that road to get to school.
This takes children away from the road, which is
Exactly.
a much preferable route.
Yeah, I've seen some trucks go around there, kind of scare me in my car, so I can't imagine being 5 trying to get
A
through
lot
there.
of trucks that go through there.
Any other questions for Ron? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of a contract with MDOT to leave improvement, the connector to the Paul Henry Thornapple Trail in place in return for county maintenance agreement. All those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Hey,
Opposed, nay. Item is approved. Thank you, sir. At this time, limited public comment. Any member of the public wishing to address the committee may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Hey,
Hastings Township. Last Sunday evening at sundown at the Veterans Memorial in Tyden Park, we had a ceremony to dedicate a Gold Star Memorial Monument in spite of the weather. For those who may not know, Gold Star represents a family that has lost a family member in the service of the United States. And so it was quite an emotional thing. We had 5 Gold Star families there, which certainly brought their personal suffering of the loss of a loved one to mind again for them. The definition of a soldier is someone who has signed a blank check made out to the United States of America for an amount up to and including their life. I've signed that check, and luckily I'm still here. If you have the opportunity to go to Tyden Park and observe that Gold Star monument, please feel those people's pain and express your appreciation for defending the right of us to be here today and have the freedoms that we have because of them. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for your service, and I've listened to a lot of public comments from you over the years, and I can't help but feel moved and grateful for folks like you that step up and also remind us that freedom isn't free. So thank you, Bob.
I think Thomas Jefferson, forgive me if I misquote him, but eternal vigilance is the cost of liberty. And so that is something that we will have generations forever signing that blank check to defend our liberties. So, is there any other business to come before the committee today? There being no further business and without objection, the committee is adjourned.